Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Dominion explained video. In today's video we'll be explaining why the Therizinosaurus and Rexy the Tyrannosaurus Rex did not fight at the end of Jurassic World Dominion. So if you're excited, be sure to press that like button as today's like goal is a total of 2,000 likes. As per usual, you guys have been absolutely smashing the like goal recently, so I have high hopes for this one, and I'm sure that you can do it. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel should you want that extra bit of Jurassic content here on YouTube, as this is the best place to be if you're a fan of the Jurassic franchise, or you just want to know more about this recently expanded movie universe. In my previous video we discussed the future of Jurassic and how there's more to come after Jurassic World Dominion. Something we've known since the year of 2020, but something that's bringing a lot of excitement to the fanbase back recently. So if you missed the news, be sure to check out my previous video. And remember, if you don't like that more movies are continuing, simply stop watching. No one is forcing you to watch. As for today's video however, here we go. Why the Therizinosaurus and Rexy didn't fight at the end of the movie. Jurassic World Dominion ended off in a huge dinosaur fight battle at the end of the movie, the same way that all of the previous World movies before it have done prior. However, this final fight seemed to be quite underwhelming for the most. The start of the fight had the Giganotosaurus and Rexy from the first Jurassic Park movie fight it off in a battle to the death to see who remains the one true apex predator of the Biosyn Valley. They commenced into a brawl whilst the main cast attempt to get away with their lives in a Biosyn helicopter flown by Kayla Watts. Zeb, the Giganotosaurus, successfully incapacitated Rexy, leaving her unconscious and fighting for her life. Then the original trio attempted to save the others from being crushed. The Giganotosaurus then turns and notices them. Kayla Watts then shoots a flare that distracts the Giga towards the Therizinosaurus, who seems to be just grazing on some grass nearby. Now, as we learned in a previous video of mine, the Therizinosaurus is confirmed to have been fully blind and makes his way across the valley using echolocation that we can hear and see being used in that scene with Claire Deering. And if you do want to find out more about the blindness of the Therizinosaurus, feel free to go check out my previous video. So as we know, the Therizinosaurus is blind, but as we also know, when a creature or a person goes blind, they don't necessarily see total darkness. Many people actually report that it's a constant blur and or heavy fuzziness that obscures their vision instead. So whilst the Theri may have been blind, he would also have noticed the brightness of the flare. The best way I could describe this to you is that if you were to close your eyes right now and then slowly cover your eyes whilst closed with your hand, you'll be able to see that it gets slightly darker. So the light is still there and it's still travelling through to your eye ever so slightly. It's just being blocked so it doesn't have its full effect. So that's how the Therizinosaurus would have noticed the flare that was shot in his direction. It would just have been a really big bright light that he would have noticed in his eye. Now, the Giganotosaurus and Therizinosaurus began to fight, as the Giga saw the Theri as a threat, as it is quite a big dinosaur. Whilst it may be herbivorous, it can still be an apex of territory, as we know it can be very territorial from Dominion. But I am sure there'll be some people out there saying, but Swerve, if the Therizinosaurus is blind, how did it fight the Giganotosaurus? This answer right here will be important for the final part of this video. Firstly, we need to analyse the fight pattern of the Therizinosaurus. If you think that the whole time it just seems to be fighting, you'd be wrong in thinking that. The Therizinosaurus is actually simply defending himself against the Giganotosaurus by holding his claws up in a defensive manner and constantly seems to always be on the back foot. Only ever attacking the Giganotosaurus when it is close, and that he can be sure he'll land a hit or two with his massive claws. Even when it's attacking however, it shows that the Therizinosaurus is just swiping blindly, as his claws are in the air and swinging around in a hopeful attempt to hit and hurt this Giganotosaurus enough. If any of you viewers have seen the Marvel character Daredevil, Daredevil fights in a similar way. Since he is blind, he has to use all of his other abilities, such as sound, so that he is able to fight, and interestingly, he always seems to start the fight on a defensive stance. So essentially, this Therizinosaurus is almost exactly like Daredevil. Pretty cool concept right there. Anyways, overall, the Therizinosaurus was fighting in a defensive manner this whole time. During this fight, Rexy then awakens from being unconscious and gets back up. When she does, the Giganotosaurus clocks on and doesn't know who to fight first, and notices that he is in the middle of a Mexican standoff. The Therizinosaurus isn't aware too much on what's happening around, so he roars to be able to get a better sense of the scene around him, as again, he uses echolocation. Upon doing so, the Giganotosaurus roars back, whilst Rexy realises it's her time to attack this behemoth. She does so, and pushes the Giga into the claws of the Therizinosaurus, which again, he seems to be holding up in front of him as a form of defense, as he is aware that there are two other apex creatures nearby. Because of this fact of him holding up his claws, it causes the Giganotosaurus to be impaled by them and dying practically instantly. Now, if he didn't have his claws up, Rexy would have pushed the Giga into the Theri, hopefully causing them to fight or kill each other, which might have actually been Rexy's plan all along, to kill them both. However, that did not happen, and it was left with Rexy and Freddy, our nickname for the tickle chicken, standing over the dead body of the Giganotosaurus. The Therizinosaurus sniffs the Giga to make sure that it's dead, because obviously he can't see it, but still stands in a defensive manner with his claws up in front of Rexy, aware of the danger nearby. Rexy then roars in triumph that she won the battle, and then a little bit after her roar, the Therizinosaurus roars as well. Notice how the Theri didn't really roar first, and how he only roared after Rexy roared. This could be a way to try and intimidate the Rex, and he is preparing for battle again. With a defensive stance, his claws up, and a retaliating roar back to Rexy's roar, my bet is that this tickle chicken was ready for one more fight against another giant dinosaur, being Rexy, who is standing in front of him. The shot then cuts away, so unfortunately we don't learn as to what happened afterwards. However, I have a decent idea of what happened that will be covered in a separate video later down the line. But immediately after, I believe that Rexy would have just walked away, leaving his Therizinosaurus alone. The Theri would have then been happy and begin his business as usual, being the most territorially hungry herbivore in the valley. So, in conclusion, why did the Therizinosaurus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex not fight at the end of Jurassic World Dominion? Well, overall, the Therizinosaurus was fully blind, and thus never wanted to engage in a battle in the first place. It just so happens that he found himself in a duel with the Giganotosaurus thanks to Kayla Watts shooting a flare nearby. This led the Therizinosaurus to go defensive in the battle with the Giganotosaurus. Rexy then wakes up, attempts to kill or take down both the Theri and the Giga in one blow, but ended up killing just the Giganotosaurus instead. She roars at the end in a sense of triumph, whereas the Therizinosaurus was aware that Rexy was in front of him and was preparing for battle once again with an apex carnivore. But Rexy, being around 35 years old now and confirmed to be at the end point of her life, she must have realised that the Therizinosaurus was not attacking her, and decided to just walk away after almost losing her life in this battle. She's smart enough to realise when enough is enough, leaving the Therizinosaurus behind and then having the fight end there with nothing else going on. And there you have it. I believe that this is the best explanation as to why the Therizinosaurus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex, Rexy, did not fight at the end of Jurassic World Dominion's final battle. It seems pretty reasonable to me and makes heaps of sense too. I mean, after all, if you've just been in a huge battle and got knocked out like that, surely you don't want to start another fight if there's no need to do so, right? I mean, if you do, then you're a mad lad who needs to be in UFC or something. But yeah, that's what I believe happened during the final battle, but more in depth. A pretty interesting concept, so to speak. However, I can't help but think how much more badass it would have been if we had the other two Rexes at the end of the movie, confirmed to be Buck and Doe from the Lost World Jurassic Park, be in the final battle, ripping the Giganotosaurus to pieces at the end in replace of the Therizinosaurus. Well, that would have been more cruel to the Giganotosaurus in all fairness, seeing as the Giga literally did no wrong in the movie and just wanted to be a dinosaur. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you got to the end of today's video at this point, let me know in the comments who you would like to see again in a future movie of Jurassic by just commenting Theri, Giga or Rexy. Don't forget to also like the video so we can aim for that 2,000 likes, and if we happen to have already hit 2,000 likes by the time you're watching, let's aim for 5,000. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel should you have enjoyed this video and want to learn more about this franchise, but in the meantime, make sure you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Hello, hi, you. Did you enjoy the video? Just a little reminder to press that like button and also subscribe. I just want to thank my Patreons for this month on screen right here, as giving me that little extra support really does go a long way. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.